Kurush, I'll start with you. When we talk about when we talk about food as a heritage, what does that actually mean in simple terms, and why should people in tourism care about it?
So lunch will be about 4 or 5 hours later, after I finished answering this question. तर आता काय म्हणायचं? Why is food important? For Maharashtra, the best way to explain why food is important to heritage is Adi Potoba, Nantar Vithoba. There is no better way. You can only on a full belly appreciate the beauty of nature, prakriti, and everything else that you want to see. All of this can only be done on a full stomach. And as much as I like pohe, there is much more than pohe that is breakfast in Maharashtra and snacks in Maharashtra. Maharashtra has an incredible diversity of food, and sadly, we are stereotyping the food of Maharashtra. I love a good vada pav, don't get me wrong. But vada pav can't be the only snack in Maharashtra. There is so much more. Every single village in Maharashtra has something unique in its cuisine. Every single community, every single caste. Especially, and I say this with a little bit of reservation, the upper castes have more variety. The lower castes have more adaptability. And this is sadly a reality all over our country. Whatever it might be, if you erase the heritage and culture of a people, you destroy a people. You homogenize a people and they have no sense of identity. As much as anything else, your identity is your food. You eat 2 to 3 times a day without fail. I mean, there is no option about it. I keep telling people when I teach food studies that 3 गोष्ट असतात जे आपल्याला करायलाच लागतात जपायसाठी. श्वास घेणं हे आपल्या ताब्यात नाही. You cannot control breathing. You have to breathe. It's a hindbrain activity. झोपायचं. Also a hindbrain activity. We've all done 2 दिवस 3 दिवस नाही झोपलो वेड्यासारखं काम केलं. शाळेचे कॉलेजचे पोरांना तर हे माहितीच असते. पण तरी झोपायलाच लागते. जेवायचं ही एक गोष्ट आहे जी आपल्या ताब्यात आहे. आपण जेवू शकतात की नाही जेवू शकतात. आणि ह्याच्यावरती आपण काही संशोधन करत नाही. ह्याच्यावरती आपण काय जास्त बोलत नाही. वेगवेगळे लोक काय काय जेवतात. Different people in different places, what do they eat? Why do they eat? Why do we talk about a Goan curry versus a Malwani curry? What is the difference between Malwan and Goan? How far is it? So many things are similar, but why is it different? What is it that is the ethos of a people? If not its food, its language, its dress, its religion, its philosophy, that is what a people are. And food plays the largest role in this and is given the least mileage of all. And this is why I think it's very important.
Rushina, I'll come to you now. So when how can hotels, like how Kurush just said that food is given the least amount of mileage, and when it comes to tourism, whenever I'm planning a travel, it's the hotel and the homestays where is the first in my list of checklists that I have to check. So how can hotels, home cooks, chefs, and people in the food business, tourism food business, make sure that these local recipes are bought to their customers or their travelers? And how can these techniques be preserved properly? Because I think it's not just about making the dish and putting it there. It's also the whole process of it that also needs to be preserved. So,
absolutely. I think cuisine basically is an output of 3 things: the climate and what the land gives you, and then what we do with it. So the climate is not limited to just what the food that is coming from the land. It's also driving how your kitchen works. So a Kashmiri kitchen will function very differently from a Maharashtrian kitchen. Kashmir ambient temperature is much lower, and therefore everything is closed and cooked under dum. But when you cook in Maharashtra or any coastal regions, our bartans are more open. Because the ambient temperature is warmer and your food cooks differently. So it's not just the ingredients or the spices or the flavors, it's how you cook as well. And there are a lot of people who are doing these things. A lot of people are trying to showcase local food. One of the interesting things that I've observed, because I also do the Godrej Food Trends report, is we've seen a beautiful shift where once people would take a trip and maybe want to do ek meal somewhere, ek local dish khana hai, ya ek local thali khana hai. Now people are traveling for the food. So there are destinations that are becoming popular because people want to just go and eat the food and experience the food completely. Now this presents a fantastic opportunity for local economies because the one thing that you can do uniquely is showcase your food. Nobody else can showcase your food the way you can in the region you're in. What is happening, which I feel could be better, is something that in the prior panel, Anurag was saying about greenwashing. So a lot of the high-end restaurants are greenwashing when it comes to food. They'll employ a couple of ladies, to show those ladies will make 2 rotis or something, they'll do a breakfast. And I'm actually quite cranky about this when it comes to Uttarakhand food because I've been representing and promoting Uttarakhand food for 20 years now. And most of the hotels that are serving up a Uttarakhand thali are serving up something I had put together years ago as my pop-up, but they found it on the net and it's become this stereotype. But it's good, authentic Uttarakhand food, but it doesn't end there. Just like Maharashtrian food is not just poha or vada pav or, Maharashtra stretches from the coast to the mountains. And within that, you have so many different terroirs, so many different ingredients. If it's a biodiversity hotspot, it's also a biodiversity hotspot when it comes to ingredients. We're all learning. Some people are doing it better, some people are doing it lesser so. But I feel that when it comes to sustainable tourism, culinary culture offers a great way. You're not flying in pastas and canned tomatoes, you're using what's locally available. And like I said, you go from coastal Maharashtra where you have the konkani and the koli fish curry, all the way into the interiors where you have the pandra rasa. And the same ingredients are transforming as you travel around. And imagine how delicious it would be just to travel around Maharashtra to taste all these different things. And to taste all these different things, local people need to bring those things on the plate. So and a lot of this lies in the home kitchens with the mums and the grandmoms. So, and one of the things we are seeing is now we want those real people when we're traveling. So bring your moms and your grandmoms and your aunts and your amazing cooks, the wives. I'm hoping there are men in there as well, not only women. But let them come, let them cook the food that you love at home, and let us all taste it when we visit you.
Just to add to what Rushina said, the first time I went to Sri Lanka, and I wanted to eat Sri Lankan food, and I was eating at all these little shops in the Rudar, very nice food, really enjoying myself. We were told to go to a 5-star hotel to eat Sri Lankan food, and the first thought was, nahi yaar, iska to lafda ho jayega. But a lot of people told us it would be very good. So we went to this place called Nuga Gama. Behind the hotel, in a beautiful courtyard under a huge banyan tree, the entire menu was only being cooked by ladies from villages. There was no chef, not a single chef, not one chef jacket, not one toque visible anywhere. And they were cooking it behind there and they were feeding it to us in front. Yes, it was the buffet, because it would be easier that way to do. And they were replenishing it, they were making their hoppers on the spot. And there was not a single chef. It blew my mind that they could do this 15 years ago at a 5-star hotel. So as Rushina said very correctly, this greenwashing, put 2 dishes. This is rubbish. But I'll also say this, sadly, we have a lot of Indian tourists who go abroad and want Indian food.
That is true.
Okay, I find that difficult to comprehend, but I accept it. Okay, theek hai baba, you want to go with your Satwik, your giant truck following you everywhere, and you want to eat vada pav on Mount Titlis. And माझी बायको नाही, मी तिचा पण वडापाव खाऊ शकतोय का? So, that kind of nonsense is there, but it's part of the deal. Okay? That vada pav on Mount Titlis, by the way, has got so famous. I don't know how many Maharashtrians know this. There is now a permanent vada pav truck at the bottom of Mount Titlis for everybody, not just for Indian tourists. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes some nice things come out of it. I went to Sri Lanka the second time for a conference, and I had 5 people from Delhi who complained about the food every single day. Every single day. On the 6th day, they went out and bought a tawa, a polpat, and gehu, and they made paratha for themselves for breakfast. They did not want to try the local food. It was difficult, but I suppose there are all kinds of travelers. So, see, it's very easy sometimes for us to say, we should give the travelers the authentic experience. All travelers might not be able to accept the authentic experience. You need to work around some of these things.
So this is a follow-up question to the both of you. Now, since we were already talking about big hotels, 5-star hotels, now in India, in Maharashtra, if we were to talk to hotels or the big corporations, how can at least, we are not trying to give them advice, but at least, okay, maybe advice, but how can we maybe tell them that, okay, maybe these are the ways that you can at least try? Just the first step inside the door. To make sure that farmers and local producers and the food can actually be presented in their menu and actually benefit back to the people that they're sourcing it from.
So it's actually not difficult. It just requires more time and effort on everyone's part. And that's the part where we've sort of been ruled by the beast of convenience and time and all of that stuff. But I'm going to use a small example of a company that I worked with for a couple of years, it's a brand called Ishara. Some of you might have heard of it. They work with a lot of hearing impaired and speech impaired staff. That's their USP. But their food is really, really good as well. And they engaged me a couple of years ago because they wanted to bring more local ingredients on the menu. So we did a few initiatives, and they took the effort to bring in the ingredients. So one of our favorite stories with that is we worked with Triple O Farms. A lot of people here might be aware of them. Triple O Farms is doing tremendous work in conserving ingredients. And last year they came to market with a rice that they had managed to conserve and regenerate out of just a handful of grains. It's called tulsia. Only 200 kilos came to the market. Some of it went to a beer brewing company who did a beer with it, and some of it came to us. And we put it on the menu, and we did a very simple menu called tadka. And we served up 8 types of khichdi. One of them was, if there are any Gujaratis here, we have very simple dish that we make with the green tori ka dana and rice. It's like a tori khichdi pulao blend. Now that green tori only comes in the winter. Tastes delicious. And this tulsia needed something that did not need too much to overwhelm the flavor. So we did this simply cooked green tori and this with a leela lasan and ghee ka tadka on top. It was the biggest hit. So a lot of times you don't need to reinvent the wheel. A lot of times high-end restaurants feel like they need to put a lot of things in to make it justifiable to sell. But actually, the consumer is looking at one thing at the end of the day. It should taste good. And you can't go wrong with ghee. I mean... So tulsia was one example. We worked with saffron. We worked with a farmer called Afan Basu out of Srinagar. And we brought his saffron to the plate in a specific menu. I think it takes dedication from everyone, from the farmer up to the people at the restaurant, not just the management, but also the staff that's cooking the food and serving up the food, to work together. And that's where the hard work comes in. But if you're dedicated and you're passionate, you can make it happen.
So the only thing that I can add to what Rushna so beautifully said is you can't make these changes happen in a five-star hotel. You can make them happen in hotel chains and restaurant chains and standalone restaurants which are really interested in putting out good food. The five-star hotel today is about mass production, standardization. It's all about how many pastes can we buy ready-made and squeeze them into a pan and add our main protein or main vegetable to it. And that is sadly the way the five-star kitchen has now evolved in the last 25 years. If you go to any chef's event, the biggest banners over there will be by these companies who sell ready-made brown paste, yellow paste, green paste, red paste. So I really don't see the five-star hotel being able to leverage this. And it's sad. The only place where five stars leverage this is when they call in home chefs to do special events, where seasonal events. But even there, they make sure that this is in the coffee shop. Yeah. And there is a separate buffet running side by side with a small buffet section with the special foods that are being showcased. I understand that they need to take care of their clientele and they need to have a turnover, break even, whatever. But it dilutes the impact hugely. It's like, if I was going to a Goan festival at a restaurant, and there alongside the Goan festival, there was also masala dosa, idli sambar, and Bengali fish curry rice. I mean, that makes no sense. But that is sadly the way the five-star works. And the five-star kitchen is no longer the place where we can expect this revolution to take place.
Another great example, I haven't been back in a while, but a few years ago I went to Suryagarh. And the way they've integrated local artisans in the food space, so they do a halwai breakfast. They serve up a whole lot of halwai mithais. Your bedtime chocolate is replaced by a mithai made by their in-house halwai. Now, that takes thinking and dedication and a lot of work because you're also changing the mindset of your customer. But they do it and it elevates that, every high-end chain wants to elevate the experience for their customer. There's one way to do it, which is the cut-paste style, where one size fits all. And then there is another way to do it, like a Suryagarh, where you take the same elements but elevate them with a local touch, which I think changes the experience completely. I've never forgotten that experience. Half the things I do are benchmarked by that experience.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, talking from this, Rushina, so when the five-star hotels or say anyone, when these traditional recipes are moving from the villages or the home kitchens to the city menus, what do you see is the common mistake that you have a big smile, there are plenty.
Now I'm going to keep you here for 5 hours.
I'll cut them, don't worry.
I'm going to use a little Uttarakhandi example because I'm a Mumbai girl married to a Pahadi boy. And I've been fortunate enough to document and celebrate Uttarakhand food for ever since I got married. So we have a little seed called jakhia. Jakhia is used, so Uttarakhand was a chota sa little space that was hidden away in Uttar Pradesh for a long, long time. It's only been a state for, I think, this year is our 25th year of existence. And I got married the year before that. Nobody really knew outside the homes what was the local food. 10 saal ke liye, 10 bhi nahi, I think pandemic tak, there were just 2-3 people, one was me, a few other people talking about Uttarakhand food on a national level. Pandemic mein, wo thoda badla, in the sense ki, because we were all stuck at home, हमने अपनी चीज़ें discover की, अपनी चीज़ों के बारे में, there was a pride that started growing. उसके पहले मुझे याद है मैं research करने जाती थी, I would ask people कि आपका खाना क्या होता है, and they would be like, खाना क्या होता है? It's dal bhat, and it literally is across Uttarakhand. Everywhere you go, it's rice and dal, but the dal changes based on what is grown. And we have simple preparations. The tomato didn't exist in Uttarakhand food. So हम दाल में वो भुना मसाला नहीं डालते. आप दाल को taste करोगे. But so jakhia, because Uttarakhand was so cut off both politically and geographically, it developed its own local ingredients. तो जहाँ दूसरी जगहों में आप जीरा का तड़का डालोगे या राई का तड़का डालोगे, we didn't have either of those, so we adapted jakhia, which used to grow wild. It is not cultivated. It grows on fallow land. और इसको भोटिया community would collect it, और आप कोई भी हाट या local उसमें आपको 25-50 रुपए में you would get a packet. It would last you a good few months because you only use it in sabji ka tadka. Jakhia doesn't have a flavor per se, but it has a fantastic texture. And in Uttarakhand we eat a lot of bhajis, sags. तो वो jakhia से उसमें अच्छा सा crunch आ जाता है. Somewhere along the way, hotel chefs, and I know them and I scold them even now, discovered jakhia. So I was invited to come and design a thali to showcase Uttarakhand. And I went and they said, ma'am, humne banai hai, and you know, he served it up. Every single dish in that thali had jakhia. Somebody even thought that, you know, jakhia hai, to jeere ki jagah jakhia ko dal ke hum jakhia pulao bhi bana dete. Now, jab wo jakhia ek dish mein aata hai, it's delicious. It gives you crunch, it changes the texture. जब वो सारी dishes में आता है, उसके बाद आपको dentist के पास जाना पड़ेगा because it will be stuck in your teeth. It just, you know, it's just too much. It's overwhelming. So the reason I'm using this story is because what we have in our home kitchens is an understanding. एक नज़ाकत होती है ingredient की use की. ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ भी मिला उसको पूरा थोक में डाल दो because नई चीज़ है. So there needs to be a balance between the commercial kitchen and, like Kurush said, the commercial kitchen. This is not to bash up the hotel kitchen. They also have a business to run. They have to cater to a certain clientele. But there is a balance that can be struck between traditional kitchens and commercial kitchens. I think most of the home chefs that are working in the industry today are an example of that to some extent. Taking that further to expand into knowledge of traditions, ingredients, and respecting that, and then bringing it on the plate is where we need to go. We're headed there, but it'll take us a bit of time.
See, again, to reiterate the same point, the skill sets that chefs had in five-star hotels 20 years ago don't exist today. I remember working at the Taj very indirectly about 30 years ago. There was one gentleman in the Taj Mahal Hotel at Bombay whose only job was to peel, chop, dice, and slice garlic. That's all he did. From morning to night, he peeled, chopped, diced, sliced, pureed garlic. Everybody got their garlic from him. Okay? Every single kid who came to study food had to learn to chop, dice, julienne, and all of these things. Today, they're not really learning all of this any longer. There are very few catering colleges which are going beyond what was already established 50 years ago. 5 mother sauces. अरे वो French mother sauces है. हमारे से क्या लेना देना? Why are you teaching that as the basis of the cuisine? You know, to teach that as part of French cuisine, सही है. But when are you teaching them Indian food? So there are now a few places like Vaksha, for example, in Manipal, which specifically talks about mother cuisine. And every single young student has to work on their own mother cuisine and help develop it with the mentors that they have. So those people are going places where people who are coming out of the assembly line are sadly not going places. So as Rushna said, you know, we can make the difference. It's not impossible. We need little dhakka. हम लोग धक्का स्टार्ट ही है ना, क्या करें?
Kurushal, actually, this next question is for you again. So for operators, travel operators, the another pillar of tourism, when they are planning food trails, farm stays, or cookery workshops, what must they keep in mind so that the income that is being derived from these tours reach directly to the community? And the second part of this question is, and the heritage of the food is protected also?
This is a hard one, but to me it has three parts. The first part is you must know the traveler, and the traveler must understand the experience before they sign up for it. You must know where you're going. If you're going to learn how to cook, for example, Kolhapuri food, it's not all Pandra Rasa, Tamda Rasa. There is much more to the food of Kolhapur than that. And nobody in Kolhapur has ever cooked veg Kolhapuri. It doesn't exist in Kolhapur. Okay? So, when you pitch to the prospective client, your pitch must be good. You must be able to explain what it is and leave enough space for the client to come back to you and say, boss, agar ye karne ka hoga, to usme kya kya rahega? What if you have a client who can't handle jeera and your food is jeera forward, as the kids say today? Then that experience is going to be a terrible experience for the client. What if the client is vegetarian and your cuisine is essentially fish-based? What are you going to do at the last minute? So that's the one part. The second part is tour organizers and aggregators need to take their tourists to the homes of those people who are going to be cooking that food. Don't necessarily, sometimes you can't help it. Don't necessarily call those people to your kitchen and tell them to teach people how to do a workshop or how to cook that food. Take your tourists to their house. Let them see their house, their setup, where they will be most comfortable and where they will be happiest to talk to you. And thirdly, genuinely be prepared and prepare both sides of your audience for negative feedback. Negative feedback happens. Everybody does not have a perfect experience. Okay? You should not take it personally. At the same time, you should take it professionally, and so should your entire team. So if you're working with people in a rural area or a semi-urban area, they can feel very hurt if somebody comes and is downright nasty to them. They can be very upset. And your job is to insulate them a little in advance. At the same time, to talk to your tourist that if you have any problems, your job is to tell me about them, not the people that you're interacting with. That divide, that barrier is necessary, and it'll go away after some time. When people get used to more tourists coming to their houses and interacting more with them, they'll be able to take the high with the low. But in the early stages, I've seen very, very bad repercussions of some tourists coming and say, hey, ye sab faltu hai, ye sab bakwas hai. And tourists can be absolute, you know the word I'm going to use, which I can't use from the stage, right? So these are things that you need to look into.
I think it's a matter of respect. We don't have to like everything we taste, but we can respect, just like we would like people to respect what we eat.
Rushina, I'll ask you this. So Maharashtra has agritourism, which we've already spoken about today multiple times. And with that, there are a lot of strong festivals that are there in Maharashtra. How can operators use these seasons responsibly without over-commercializing or stripping away the meaning?
I think it's across the board. It's not about whether it's festivals. It's about showcasing food, striking a bit of a balance, yes, like Kurush said, because you will have different diverse communities coming. People have different tastes, different requirements of diet, all of that stuff. But I think if we stay honest, I think the way we celebrate the Modak at Ganpati is one of the most beautiful things of Maharashtra. Unfortunately, I am not a big fan of the chocolate Modak and the strawberry Modak and the... Maybe they are great, good to eat, okay? But honestly, the Ukdicha Modak is, I think, one of the most beautiful foods. And I'm sure Kurush will say that historically it ties us back generations. And honestly, I mean, I'm a Gujarati, grown up in Bombay. I've eaten every kind of Maharashtrian food. I've eaten every kind of community food. So Kurush has been feeder of much Parsi food. I have lots of home chefs who are friends. We have so much. You know, even just Ganpati, we eat modaks. In Gujarati families, we make a churme ka laddu. Towards the south, you make a kozukudai. I think I'm not getting the pronunciation right. Concept same है. भगवान को हम कुछ खाना खिला रहे हैं जो हमारे locally area में जो ingredients थी उससे जो we served our gods the best foods we could based on what we got locally. Let's just showcase that, no? Why we need to make cupcake, modak? It's got its own place, maybe, I don't know. But
So I don't know how many people are here from the Konkan, Raigad district. How many people have eaten Kolambitsa modak?
I put on my menu once.
Khimecha modak. So the modak is not only coconut, and the modak is not only for Ganpati. Remember Ganpati's mummy when she visits, her prasad is mutton.
Yeah, I
The
got into
Orita
a
Prasad
lot of
mutton
trouble
aste.
for that one.
Okay? So yeah, there is so much amazing stuff. How many people have been to Japan from here? Anybody? So Japan has this amazing two elephant-headed god called Kanjiten. And Kanjiten's prasad is a modak. I kid you not, it looks exactly like a modak. It's made out of wheat flour because, well, that's what they like to make it out of. And because there's no coconut trees in Japan, it's got red bean paste inside it, sweet red bean paste inside it. And I keep wondering if there was some kaku who went on a ship with her husband, ended up there, and when she couldn't find the right ingredients for doing Ganpati Puja, she got what was locally available and made it. And the guy at the Ganpati temple said, Aila, ye to bahut sahi hai. So, I mean, that's wishful thinking. But what I'm trying to say is, there is so much to celebrate that is local. And it's so beautiful to see how it spreads, how it travels, how it goes places. Can you imagine a modak-shaped treat to an elephant god in Japan? I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds?
And you know, if you took that reverse, like food that travels, like a lot of times people, Italian restaurants I think are the most famous for saying, हम तो हमारा last to last rocket का पत्ता हम इटली से लाते हैं. And then when you think sustainably, you're wondering that have you guys thought of the cost of bringing all that food? And then you're like, but everyone loves pasta. And one of the things that I've discovered in the last few years is in India, we don't have that much diversity of pasta because we're a rice-eating nation. But we're also a dough-making nation. Jahan atta banta hai, wahan koi na koi pasta banta hai. I think one of my favorites is the Maharashtrian shengole. But, you know, you have anguli pitha towards northeast. And made fresh, whether it's made out of rice flour or I think shengole, if I'm not mistaken, is buckwheat. Yeah, semolina of Italian pasta, if it's made fresh and served to you hot, it tastes really good. It's just a matter of changing the mindset of the person. Like, unko pata nahi hoga, to fir unko taste karne ko milega nahi, and they won't ask for it. So I think we need to just talk and have more discussions about food also.
See, the more food you eat, the more you travel, the more things you imbibe, the more you take in, the more you expand your horizons, you automatically come to appreciate it. And if you don't, you're some kind of idiot. I'm being very clear about it, very blunt about it. If you're not going to appreciate the things that you see on your travels and you take in on your travels, those experiences, there's something very wrong with you. Okay? So travel just opens up your horizons. You will not like everything. You will not love everything. I mean, there's this fermented buried shark in Iceland. I won't try it.
It's very fun.
Because it tastes just like ammonia, nothing else. The only thing you taste is ammonia in your mouth. I mean, they had nothing else, that's why they ate that. There is a fermented sheep's anus in Japan. I'm not having that either. Okay, there are 2 or 3 things on my list which I won't be eating. But the rest of it, I'll give it one shot. I still remember when my wife Ria organized a pop-up by this Assamese girl. And she was doing silkworm larvae, deep fried silkworm larvae. And I was like, yeah. Automatic response, right? Then it was like, why you? Somebody eats it and likes it, right? So I popped the first one, and surprise, surprise, it didn't taste that bad. Once I got over the head feel, crunchy on the outside, gooey on the inside, it tasted like somebody taken good tuna, good badam, and minced the hell out of both of them together. That's what it tasted like. So, what I'm saying is, yeah, it was delicious. I had a second one. Would I eat it again? Yes. So you got to try it. If you don't try it, it's not going to work for you. And if you don't eat non-veg, you don't eat non-veg. That's fair enough. It should be a choice, not a compulsion.
So we'll tie up today's conversation with one last question. So going forward, what do you think is the kind of support that would make it easier to protect the indigenous food become a very integral part of the Maharashtra tourism landscape?
Can I? So I'm going to use the example of millet. Millet has done very well in the last few years because of the combined push of policy, hospitality, everything. My pet peeve with promoting millet that much is that we've taken it out of context of the traditional diet. And therefore now suddenly we are eating something that was eaten seasonally, regionally, in combination with other foods. We are eating it 24/7. Breakfast mein dal do, lunch mein dal do. Jahan millet ka chance mila ghusa do. Your body can't handle that. You followed a certain diet. So when we are promoting local ingredients, traditions, things like that, let's look at them in their traditional context. A ragi was not served as ragi alone. It came with certain vegetables, certain spices that helped you digest it. You ate it at a certain time of day. In summer, you fermented it into an ambil. It made it digestible. Suddenly, you're eating something and you're messing with your body. So I think one is understanding the context, bringing out the stories of the people who grow the food, the people who cook the food, the real people, not the chefs. I mean, all due respect to chefs, but the home chefs, the master chefs of the home kitchens is what I would call them. How many people over here have eaten chutney in the last week? Everybody. To the ladies in the house, how many chutneys do you think you have in your fridge? Like maybe 3, 4? Green chutney hoegi, imli chutney hoegi. Okay, now I'm guaranteeing if I walk around with a mic and ask each of you कि आपको कौन सी चटनी याद है या मैंने जब चटनी बोला आपके mind में क्या आया, you will have a different thing in your mind. You will forget a whole meal. You will not forget the chutney you ate. You will go back to that vada pav guy who had that lasan ki chutney. So I brought this along, sorry, I'm not to show it off, of course to show it off, but more than that, so this is a book that we've taken 2 years to put together. It's called Chutney, and it documents chutney from across India. We have 230 recipes. 140 people from around the country have helped us with कि chutney उनकी cuisine में उसका मायना क्या होता है. तो जहाँ जैसे इफ़ इट्स लद्दाख फॉर एग्जांपल जहाँ सब्जियाँ नहीं होती है तो चटनी बहुत कम होती है, 1-2 चटनी होती है. महाराष्ट्र में I mean हमारा महाराष्ट्र का चैप्टर बहुत ही बड़ा है बिकॉज यहाँ पे एक तो ओवरऑल महाराष्ट्र में इतनी चटनियाँ हैं एंड डाइवर्स लाइक सूखी चटनी से लेके गीली चटनी. On top of that, Mumbai is in Maharashtra, so you also have that entire universe of different communities ka contribution. And the reason I bought this book up today was I wanted to show you कि अगर हमारी चटनी में इतना सारा है, so imagine if we pick up every other element, how much more there is that we have, that we can document and celebrate and take to the whole world. And I think Maharashtra especially, having grown up here, we have so many ingredients. So Kurush and I have a common ground when it comes to dal because that's where this whole journey for me started. He got me to start studying dal. And in Maharashtra, we have something, I don't know if anyone knows, something called Shravan Fali. It's like a black dal. Okay, if you can help me get it, I would love it. So my maid used to, the lady who worked in my house and brought me up, she used to carry this dal from her village and bring it. And छोटा छोटा 1-2 बार बनाती थी, थोड़ा सा लाती थी. She lived I think, interior Maharashtra, high in the mountains. And it was the most delicious dal. मेरे को कभी वापस मिली नहीं after, she moved out of our house. Until a few years ago, at a local, अपना वो, what's that big festival that happens? The Saras, Mahalakshmi Saras. वहाँ पे somebody had it on their stall. And I spotted it and I picked it up and I was very excited. My example, why I'm giving this is, these kind of places like Mahalakshmi Saras, and Ria, I think you're one of common mindset. We love going and discovering ingredients. So I think we need to stop being shy about our ingredients and apologetic about them and show them off. And some will, people will appreciate some others will appreciate others, some will appreciate certain flavors. But I think if we talk about them, is the only way we bring them out and discover them.